Hello, everyone. Once again, I want to thank you guys for showing up. And this is our weekly discussion about hypnosis in general. And most of us here are hypnotists, but recognize that if you know someone who's just interested in it, this is also quality information for them as well. So what I want to do today is first of all, I sort of have to apologize because I thought of this without giving a lot of practice to what I'm going to talk about. But I also had some really good experiences this week that illustrate what I'm trying to describe here. I had 3 clients back to back. I could only spend 1 hour with them, and they were all first session hypnotists, so for hypnosis subjects. So in other words, they were with me for the first session. Now, had I had more time than that 1 hour, it would have been just fine. I could have easily gone longer, but I realized that what I had to do had to be compressed a little bit so we could get the initial stuff going and do our best hypnosis there. And what I realized in those moments is that, first of all, we've had some communication, we've exchanged some emails, we've spoken on the phone. I have a brief understanding of what they want to accomplish. They filled out an intake form. And so in the moments, if I go 15 minutes in that first session before doing a hypnosis session, I'm being generous. So I have to compress down in those 15 minutes what I need to do so that they become happy and receptive and open and suggestible. And what I sort of processed in my mind is, first of all, it's the biggest responsibility on that is me to make that happen. And so the first thing I would always do is welcome them as warmly as possible and get them start sort of agreeing and understanding. So I'll have them, if they're doing it through Zoom, I'll have them adjust their face, and I start giving them some really direct instructions. I tell them, make sure the device is set in a place where you don't have to hold it, but I can see your hand. And so I have some people do it in their car, and I've had that happen more than a few times. And it turns out doing hypnosis in your car is a pretty good environment because you're isolated, you have the voice on your speaker, and it's a very comfortable seat. So that tends to work very well. But then it was also really about being able to do several things in that short amount of time. Express to them a sense of expectancy, what they should expect. So I always remind them, what's going to happen is going to happen. It is going to be great. I will ask them first, what the problem is, how they describe it. And sometimes they're very generous with their descriptions and it takes up a lot of time. So I sometimes have to have them compress it. Once I have them talk about it, and the reason I want them to talk about it is to have it somewhat consciously in their mind, but then I'll ask them, what would be the feeling or emotion that would make you feel so good you couldn't have that response? Sometimes I'll give a few suggestions. I always give as many suggestions as possible because I don't want to have them lock into any one, but often they'll have a good idea of what they want to experience. And the next part of that is I ask them to imagine feeling that feeling and feeling it so strong and so powerfully, they couldn't have the problem. And if I ask them to test this and imagine feeling this feeling as though it were alive and real, and to put themselves in a situation where the problem would be triggered. And if they say, I wouldn't respond if I had this feeling, I know we're in the right direction. So in eliciting that, I've noticed the best thing I can do is get them sort of glassy-eyed and feeling the feeling. Sometimes smiling is always a good response. And anytime I say something that they respond to with a smile, I'll bring that to their conscious attention and say, so you're smiling, so you know what that feeling is like. And that associates them in the fact they're feeling the feeling. I've shared this many times, and I really feel it's worth sharing, which is you have a responsibility in every interaction, and especially in this short 15 minutes, to reassure them, to build a sense of anticipation, to build up their ego, and to make them feel so good about what's going to happen. The one incident I had that sort of pointed this out is I had a person come to my remote office, and as she sat down, she saw the computer in front of her. My secretary brought her in. The computer was in front of her, and she just started to look in despair, like shaking her head. No, this isn't what I expected. And I don't know, I did it, got a good response, but I was able to disarm her. And I said, I am deeply sorry. I try to be absolutely transparent about what this is, but you're going to have a good experience, and let's proceed. And her job was, she wanted to quit smoking. And she shared with me she quit smoking once with hypnosis, and then she tried 3 other times with hypnosis and failed. So she came with this chip on her shoulder of hypnosis doesn't work for me. But then she also shared that she quit drinking alcohol. She said she had to quit drinking alcohol. She went to an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. In that moment, something happened, and she just decided never to go back to alcohol. So that was the source of where we started. And by talking about that, I asked her to bring about that feeling, imagine what it would be like to apply it to smoking. And we had really the whole source of it there. And so in that 15 minutes, her disappointment about her expectations of working remotely, her frustrations with hypnotists in the past, I got her smiling and ready and anticipated, and feeling the sense of anticipation. Now, this is not something I really prepared for, so I'm going to want to give each of you an opportunity to describe what you're able to do in the short amount of time to get them that sense of expectancy and that feeling of excitement. Sometimes they call it nervousness, but nervousness just means they're going to pay attention. That's all I care about. So if you can either ask questions of my process or have something to share about what your process is to get them ready for that hypnosis, please share. Alex, you've been doing this a while, and you always have some good stories. What is it you do? You're still muted. Let me see if I will ask you to unmute.
Zoom conspires against you, Alex.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. It's not working. Okay, Alex, I'm deeply sorry. It is not unmuting. Is there anything you can do to unmute? Okay, keep trying. If I see you able to unmute, I will call you. Duane, how do you deal with people when you're doing that first hypnosis session to get them really ready?
I'm not sure I'm very good at getting people built up and enthusiastic, but I am good at calming them down and bringing them into a state of disarmed relaxation, I would say.
Yeah, good, good. So something I noticed that happens internally in me when I start, and especially it's always during the first session. I love doing the first session. And so when I have a client in front of me, no matter who it is, I have this affection toward them. I am excited to see them as if it were someone that I haven't seen in a long time. And that triggers it for me. That if I feel that, I can display it, and it has a subconscious sort of response. But is there a process that you use, Duane, to sort of create that readiness?
Not a formal process, more an informal conversation, discussion, just trying to get them in the mood, in a receptive state.
Okay. Okay, good. Graham, what's your what's your process like?
Well, my first session is generally geared to building the therapeutic alliance between me, clients, and myself. So it's not a case of hypnosis is something that is done to them. It's something that's done with them. So that they understand what's going on. It tends to be normally for like the first 20 minutes or so, doing a bit of in-depth poking around, using a bit of Socratic questions, say, find out what it is, using the ABC model from CBT to find out what their problem is, why they think they have it, what emotions and stuff like that, pretty much like you're doing about how it feels. And after which then I say, right, well, would you agree with me then that it could be that you have got this idea in your head that this is happening, so like this one I had recently who had the idea in the head that even though she could breathe okay, she was having a bit of a panic attack because she thought she couldn't breathe properly. And then after done that, then we agree a few therapy goals. So I say, right, so what we're going to do then, and again, all in agreement with each other, say, right, these are the goals that we're going to have. These are the protocols we're going to do. And I always try and make sure that they get something in on the first session, whether it's like a relaxation technique or if they've not had any hypnosis before, sort of like a dip your toes in the water bit of hypnosis sort of thing, as I'm teaching the relaxation technique, so that they get a chance to enjoy an induction.
Yeah.
Just basically to get them comfortable. I think Alex might have figured out how to mute himself by now, I think.
Okay. Justin.
Oh, yes, yes, yeah.
Okay. Alex, bear with me. Justin has some comments as well. Justin.
Yeah, so it's like you were saying, the presupposition of like coming into the session and setting expectations. I love that presupposition that you have. Is like treat them as like they were your long lost best friend, and come in with that kind of conviction and congruence. It's really hard to keep these things in mind too, because there's just so many like submodalities and so many subcontexts occurring at once. But I think that primary presupposition, right, is like get excited as it's like a long lost best friend and you haven't seen them in quite some time, right? That's just like very, very idealistic. I have a client that I'm seeing tomorrow, and acts of compliance coming on to my awareness too, my conscious awareness. Yes, like as many acts of compliance as possible to build more unconscious conscious rapport. But then also like the submodality in neurolinguistics kind of context, like a presupposition, as if treating them as just their long lost best friend and you haven't seen them in quite some time.
Right.
I think that was an appropriate comment, right? I wasn't too much sure of the question prior because I logged back in and logged out.
Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, the other thing I want to mention is also for the first session, most people haven't done hypnosis before. So they come with some expectation of what it's like. Either they're completely wide open and don't know, or they think they're going to be asleep and unconscious, and you're just going to manipulate them like the puppet master. And I always let them know that hypnosis is a natural state. If you have paid attention to a video game long enough that an hour and a half has stopped, that time has passed and you weren't aware of it, that's hypnosis. Except with hypnosis, we can focus in on anything. So demystifying it, letting them know it's a natural process, puts them at ease. That's also a good thing. Now, Alex, you can unmute yourself now.
Good. I've wrestled the Kraken and I've won. So I was thinking my approach whenever somebody is coming up to me, they need hypnosis, then I ask them to weigh their fears, more or less. I ask them an appeal which goes directly to their emotions. What scares you the most? What scares you the most? Being hypnotized right here, right now, or living long term with this habit that you come to me to get rid of? Now, you'll probably find that the fear of being hypnotized right now seems small compared to the fear of this long-term condition that you're saddled with and you've been trying to get rid of, your smoking habit, your gambling habit, or your public speaking habit, which I absolutely love destroying. So that's how I do it. I get them to weigh their fears, and if they come up with an answer from their heart that says that they wish the lesser fear, then I'll just lead them gently into the process of being hypnotized.
Right.
There's some point where you don't need to explain to their intellect, to their conscious filter, exactly what hypnosis is about, because you're going to be demonstrating to the unconscious mind what it feels like to be in charge and to drop that conscious filter, which is like Cyclops' visor from the X-Men, as far as I'm seeing it. If you imagine that metaphor, Cyclops taking off his visor so that he sees everything clearly for the first time.
Okay. I gotta
So
say,
you just leave
that has
and then you
never
can
occurred
explain
to me.
Afterwards.
I'm sort of in awe of that, because it's never occurred to me to have them talk about their fear of being hypnotized. But you just put it right out in front of them. What's your fear of being hypnotized? Wow, I got to try that. That's interesting. And you compare, and so that I understand it, you compare it to the fear of like holding on to this same problem they've been persistently having. Okay.
I even do the gestures, small one, big fear.
Okay.
It's this thing that I've got. People assume that I'm kind of a Bond villain type by the way I walk, the way I talk, the things I talk about. So I might as well just start straight away with fear, because that seems to work a lot. Fear is an honest emotion. It never speaks in riddles.
Well, and when you elicit their fear, you have all of their focus as well. So that's very important as well. That's good. Okay. So you've got their fear, you've got their compliance, you've got their openness. Okay. That's good. Thank you. That was insightful for me. All right. Anyone else have insights or things that they can share that has worked for them? Anyone else? Okay. Yeah, Justin.
Yeah, so what was insight in regards to, what's the primary context? Insights in regards to what?
Well, just things that you've done that make that first session much easier. I can tell you what I've done, and we've talked about that.
Yeah. Well, I generally, I know we are all trained in the element induction, and it's kind of like a shocking abreaction kind of thing where, it's not an abreaction, but it's a phenomenon. It's a condenser, and it's also an induction. I kind of like to ease into the element induction. I don't like to.
Oh, and we just lost him. Okay. He was on the beach. So that's too bad.
Not
All right.
not wanting to presuppose what he's going to say
There we go.
about the
He's
element
coming back in.
inductions. Oh,
He's coming back in.
no, that's good.
There we
I
go.
accidentally got a robocaller from my Google business profile. And I tried to click exit out on it, and I exited out the Zoom call.
All right. All right. So yeah, you were saying.
Yeah. When in regards to like doing an element induction, I really like to do it. And then I do one that's a bit more snappy. It's like close your eyes and try to open your eyes and find them pressing down and sealing shut. The harder you try to open them, the more impossible it becomes. But I found just kind of like a gradual, progressive relaxation with all the muscles around the forehead and eyelids, and kind of having them focus on the boilerplate whilst like working into the eye lock induction to make it more subtle. I don't really like to shock people. I've been treated, homeostasis is the primary reason as why we maintain things the way we are. So I don't care to like jump people right into a state of like unconscious, agreements. I prefer to do it like subtly. And I just kind of work my way through the element induction. I just kind of use progressive relaxation, relax the muscles around your eyes and eyelids, take a slow, deep breath. Every breath you take, you feel better and better. It's kind of that nature. That's about.
Very good. Very good. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Justin. All right. Just to recap, I'm going to just go over the points that have worked for me and a couple of what other people have done here is start yourself with a sense of excitement for the person. And again, this is like a long lost friend. And so when you greet them, you greet them with a smile. You make sure I always ask them how their first name is pronounced. So do you or Thomas, things like this, just so I get them. And every time they answer that first few questions, I'll say thank you. So they get a reward for just responding to me. And building, I guess, when you're starting with that sense of love and friendship with a person, you're at least on your part building a connection. And connection is going to be one of the more powerful processes. Hypnosis doesn't demand connection, but it does make it a lot easier. Psychologists who like to have someone come to their couch every week, they want a really strong connection, so they'll keep paying money to come to their couch and listen to a guy wearing a sweater vest. So yeah. Okay. Any last things? I like Alex. I want to recap Alex's idea of comparing the fear of keeping the problem with the fear of hypnosis. I'm definitely going to apply that a couple times. That's good. All right. Anyone else? Okay. We're going to do this every week. If any of you have any ideas of good topics for hypnosis or how to sort of enhance your practice, I am eager to hear them and we'll talk about them. Gentlemen, because you're here, you are not somewhere else. And so I deeply am grateful for the sacrifice you made to get here. I look forward to this every week and I care about you guys a lot. So let's talk. Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time to arrange these, David. It's greatly appreciated as always. Thank you.
It's a joy. Thank you.
Okay.
Second,
Thanks,
Graham.
Bye, everyone.
Definitely.
Have a great week.
Duane, thank
Later,
you.
all gents.
Alex, bless you. Take care, guys.